What do you think might prevent a veteran, so to speak, from kind of, again, jumping out of that nest and taking what he's learned through all these years and applying it to his own life?
That's a good question. I mean, if you're here, let's say 2 years already, and you're like, man, nothing significant has changed since the year and a half I've been here, like it's been steady. It's time to say like, okay, what's my next step? I know some guys just like the group, which is cool. We love you guys, we want you guys here. But also, what are you contributing, right? You don't just be a creator, not a freaking like a consumer. Like what is it that you're gonna do next? Are you gonna give back? What's the end goal? And a lot of the times I always tell brothers this, like, what is it that you're still holding on to? Is it comfort? That seems to be my theme as well. Like for me, like to share with you guys, mine is comfort. Like if I could do things in an efficient way and just like be cool, that's my homeostasis. So if I notice that I stay in this way and this group is not serving me to help me grow, then what am I doing here? When someone's like not ready to leave, you still got work to do. You still need to go join a Milan session, right? Go join a Dr. Jessica, go join a ranking or JK or breaking the cycle call or a letting go call, right? One of those. You got to do something to actually reveal it. And I think that's where a lot of brothers, if you're too afraid to face things, that's an issue, right? It's gonna affect you. It's gonna hurt more knowing that you should do something. You're better off not joining the program.
Nah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, like there is a lot of resistance in guys to kind of, I don't want to say open up, but kind of go deep and just be real with themselves in terms of how this behavior has affected them and how it's affected others and the reasons why they may be acting out in the first place. You know, it is not an easy process for anybody, but yeah, I mean, I love the fact that we have opportunities like the letting go calls, like sessions with Dr. Eastman and Milan and Dr. Rankin and everybody, you know, where we literally give you that opportunity to, even if just for a short time, like begin to process that hurt, you know, begin to process that root. But I think one telltale sign of somebody who might not be ready to graduate, if you will, is inconsistency in doing the work. You know, again, like it is not a secret that everybody in this group is a smart person. Like if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you're a smart person. Now, an intelligent person will see something like, simple example, the feelings exercise, watch that module and be like, all right, this makes sense to me. Let me move on. Again, this isn't just let me take the information and be on my way. It is, okay, how are you doing with it? You know, don't let a coaching call just be like a cool conversation. Like, please, like, take in what's being shared with you. Take in what's being suggested to you and actually put pen to paper and give it a try. Because what a waste of time it would be for, you know, you breach your comfort zone and try something you haven't done. It goes with that, you know, old school expression. If you want to be somewhere you've never been, you need to go somewhere you've never been. Or I'm messing up that quote. It's like, in order to achieve something you've never achieved, you need to do something you've never done. Something along those lines. But I mean, the cliche rings true. You know, I'll ask somebody who might be considering leaving the group. I'm like, okay, you know, what's your morning routine like? Oh, I don't really have one. Okay. You know, how you doing with like the modules? Keeping up with those? Yeah, I'll be honest, it's been a while. Like, all right. You know, how's your accountability partnership going? Yeah, I don't have one. And I'm like, bro, all right. So, okay. So we got to start from square one. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it's like, we got to be real. This is where self-assessment is due. So all of that is definitely a thing where, you know, someone might need some extra time, a little extra effort, a little, you know, more time to work through things and the accountability to make sure those things get done. But I think it's worthwhile to kind of open up a conversation about gentlemen that have been here for a long time. We're always willing to help anybody who comes through this group. and we encourage the recovery and reboot of every single brother in this group. I guess the conversation began, as, how do you know if you're ready to graduate? If you have a brother who decides to renew and then renew and re-renew and re-renew, again, we're going to help you no matter where you're at. And the fact that you are investing in yourself at all, kudos to you, right? Like, you are putting skin in the game and making sure you're being held accountable to things you want to be held accountable to. But what do you think might prevent a veteran, so to speak, from kind of, again, jumping out of that nest and taking what he's learned through all these years and applying it to his own life?
Russ, since you got it.
Man, nah, I don't know nothing, man. Let's see. That's a good question. I mean, if you're here, let's say 2 years already, and you're like, man, nothing significant has changed since the year and a half I've been here, like it's been steady. It's time to say, like, okay, what's my next step? I know some guys just like the group, which is cool. We love you guys, watch you guys here. But also, what are you contributing, right? You don't just be be a creator, not a freaking like a consumer. Like, what is it that you're gonna do next? Are you gonna give back? What's the end goal? And a lot of the times I always tell brothers this, like, if you're not gonna, well, in this case, in this one, right? I would say, like, what is it that you're not looking at? Or what is it that you're still holding on to? Is it comfort? That seems to be my theme as well. Like, for me, like, to share with you guys, mine is comfort. Like, if I could do things in an efficient way and just like be cool, that's my homeostasis. So if I notice that I stay in this way and this group is not serving me to help me grow, then what am I doing here? Like, what the fuck? Oh yeah, what the fuck are you doing here then? And again, there's nothing wrong if you like the community, but what is it that you're aspiring to do? Because now, since you have this, let's say you're awesome, right? Again, this is the ideal rebooter that's like has some control already. He's like, man, you know what? I feel good, but I'm still here.
Yep.
And I'm like, okay, what's next? Right? Like, what is it that, what are you going to do? Because this energy that you have now, this pretty much your awareness is there. You have the awareness to even see that, then be like, what am I going to do with it? Because the danger is you could go back and be like, my life is boring. And then you start to feel that in your body, like, man, I feel like depressed. I feel like I have nothing going on for me. Then it's because you're not really taking a step to face a fear that perhaps you're not looking at. And we talk about reboot, capital, right? Or the 5 elements of reboot. Are you lacking your spiritual, relationship, health, social, and financial, right? Where are you lacking? What are you doing? Are you still, mediocre in 4 of them, right? Or what you're good at, but the rest are shit? Like, what is it that you got to do, right? You need someone to talk to you. And that's why I love Dom, because Dom will be like, what the fuck you doing, bro? Like, what, you serious? Instagram, get the fuck out of here. I was like, yeah, bro. Yeah, I'm like, I agree. Like, what are you doing, guy? But no, like, seriously, jokes aside, you need to do something with that, with this new version of yourself. Really, someone that's your old self is dying. What is this new person? Where do you want? How do you want to mold this guy? That's why it's so important to have a plan.
Dom, you were shouted out, so I know you got some thoughts on the topic, but
No, Dom has some words, man. Come on.
Yeah. If you're a guy who's been here for 3, 4, 5 years, and you're using every other week, something is wrong. Like, let's say you didn't have a problem with stopping using, then you wouldn't be. And so you're doing all the exercise, you're doing whatever you're doing, obviously isn't working for you, meaning that you're not applying everything the way you should be. Like, the whole point of us being here is that we can stay off of porn so we can recover, so we can move on with our lives. And if you're not able to do that, you're not doing something correctly. There's so many things that we can do, so many mistakes that can be made that can be assessed to where you can get a grip of the situation. So maybe you're like, let's say you've been here for 3 years and you're a guy who uses every other week and shit. You haven't gotten to 30 days, let alone 60, 90, 180. You see that, like, you haven't hit any of those milestones, then something is wrong. Maybe you're not listening to your reboot hero. Maybe you're not listening to what JK Mays said in his one video. Maybe you don't have boundaries at all. Maybe you're a guy who doesn't have accountability. Maybe you aren't journaling to get your emotions in check to the point where when it's 12 a.m. and you have strong urges and your dick is leaking because you're thinking about porn all fucking night. You understand? Like, there's so many different things that can be going on that you're not doing that's contributing to your unsuccess. The truth of the matter is this, is that you are going to end up being in a situation where you spent all this fucking money, you spent all this time, you've learned all this information, but you're in the same exact boat. Maybe you'll improve a little bit. Maybe other areas of your life will get a little bit better, but the main thing, the main objective hasn't been touched. And the funny part is that if the main objective hasn't been touched, then nothing else is really going to be affected in a positive way anyways. And so if a person's been here for a while, and there's nothing wrong with being here for a long time. I know guys who are here from when I first started my recovery. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that objectively, but if you're in a situation where you haven't gotten anywhere with your recovery, like you haven't made any milestones, you're posting about relapsing all the time, you have to figure this out. Because I'm like, it's like this addiction's not gonna take care of itself. You have to take care of it. And you have to destroy your addiction before it destroys you. If you and I started around the same time doing the same thing, getting rid of the same problem, and I'm at the end, I've been at the end for more than 3 or 4 years, and you're still at the same spot you've been at from the beginning, I'm not gonna fuck with you anymore. That's ridiculous. And so, because it shows that you don't have any discipline in your life, or something is wrong to the point where you're still there. That is a problem with you. You have all the tools, you have all the people, you have all the everything, and you're still using it.
So if I may, I think that there's a lot to be said there, and there's definitely a lot of truth in it. For me, like what I was messing with was, I was hooking up with escorts. I was addicted to going to massage parlors. I was, watching porn a couple times a week, right? And that was my thing. Now, thank God and thank the program, I've been off of that for God knows how long now. Now, somebody else might be coming in like, yo, I act out the porn 4 or 5 times a day, like over 10 times a week, whatever it is. And if that level of, behavior goes from 10 times a week to 1 time a week, and it takes 4 years to get there. Now, again, if they're still participating in behaviors that are unhealthy for them, yeah, some self-assessment is due, but that's still a win in itself. So with compassion, like we understand that everyone's on a different level. What might work for you might not work for me and for Russ and vice versa. So when it comes to the problems that we face, yes, the problems may have similarities, but they're not 100% the same. But the reason why I say that is because whatever a brother's particular reboot definition is, you have the information that you can apply so that you can better curb your behavior and live the best life that you can. There is empathy for those that take longer than perhaps others to get to where they want to be, but with in mind that, they don't all start from the same place, but there does come a point, though, where if they're still not following through with what they say they want to do after years and years, then there's the conversation to be like, all right, like, what are we doing here, man? Like, listen, we're happy that you're here, and we're here to help you as best we can, but we can't do all the lifting. You know what I'm saying? Like there has to be a point there. Even with all the compassion, with all the empathy in the world, there's only so much an accountability partner can do for you. There's only so much an AP can do for you. There's only so much that a coach can do for you, right? Like we're going to hold you accountable to certain things, or we're going to cheer you on, but we're not going to hold your hand. If you're still at this point, yes, like we're going to be with you for as long as you decide this journey is going to be, because yes, we're all from different places. We all get different backgrounds and levels of addiction and levels of need, but you are in many ways a product of your choices. The tools is for you to figure out, okay, what are the best quality choices for me, right? This is my reboot. This is my reboot definition. What's going to work for me? Our job is to hold you accountable to that. So that's why when we're having conversations like, all right, what's your foundation like? How is your morning routine? How is conversation with your APs going? Are you connecting with the group? Have you attended a coaching call, right? And it's like, no, not really. Then we got to be like, hey, bro, like, come on. We're here to get you to where you want to be, but if you're not moving, some self-assessment might be due. What's going on, brother? Thank you so much for tuning into this edition of Slips to Success. If you like what you saw, feel free to let us know down below in the comments. What was your favorite part? What was your biggest takeaway? And what will you be working on based on what you saw in this video? If you've got a question, feel free to ask us with the hashtag Slips to Success. And for all we know, it just might be the topic for the next time we do this. Stay tuned for next week's edition of us breaking down tips and techniques to bring you from slips to success.